What's up guys, today in the shop I got this 1994 Toyota Camry with the P0171 System 2 Lean Bank 1 check engine code. So today I'm going to show you guys how to diagnose this car and how to fix it. Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is confirm the complaint. So let's get in here, let's start the car. And as you can see, we do have a check engine light. So let's go ahead and hook up the scanner and get this car scanned just to make sure we have the right code. As you can see, I have the scanner connected. Now, fun fact, this car came out in 1994, meaning this car existed before OBD2. But Toyota decided to put an OBD2 port on this car anyways, making our life a lot easier and making this one of the first cars to have OBD2. So I went ahead and scanned the car, and as you can see, we do have a P0171 System 2 Lean. That's a current code, and then we also have a history code. And then these two park neutral safety switch codes, I'm gonna have to diagnose those later. Right now, we're only working on the System 2 Lean code. So that's the complaint confirmed. Let's go ahead and diagnose this. Now before we go ahead and pop the hood to diagnose this issue, first we need to understand what System 2 Lean means so we know what to look for. So what I've done is pull up the live data on the scanner, but before we even look at that, I'm going to explain to you guys what System 2 Lean means. Now inside of a car's cylinders, there needs to be a perfect mixture of air and gas. Then the spark plug ignites this mixture, and that's what causes the pistons to move up and down. If there's not a perfect mixture of air and gas inside of the cylinders, the spark plug will not be able to ignite that mixture and your engine won't run efficiently. So what System 2 Lean is saying that there's too much air and not enough gas inside of the cylinder. So what does the car do in this situation? Well, we have what's called fuel trims. That is a number that shows us how much additional fuel or how much fuel is being removed from each of the cylinders inside of the car. Now, we're looking at short-term fuel trims for bank number 1. Bank number 1 is the front 3 cylinders on this engine. You could see us at 19%. We need this to be as close to 0% as it can be. This means that the computer is adding an additional 19% of gas inside of the engine by keeping the injectors open for longer. So, now that you understand what that means, let's go ahead and try to diagnose this issue. Now, the reason you don't want an additional 19% of gas in your engine is because not only is your car not going to run right, but you're going to use a lot more gas than you need to do the same things with your car. So here's the engine, and right off the bat, if I go to the back of the engine, I can hear a hissing sound. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a hissing sound in the back of the car. Now think about it. Where could an engine get additional air from? The engine's supposed to get its air from this air box, suck it into the intake and into the cylinders. But you also have all of these vacuum hoses, all of these rubber. All of these can get old over time, crack, leak, and that will allow additional air to go inside of the system and into the engine. And that's what's happening here, and that's what the hissing sound is. It's called a vacuum leak. Now going to the back of the engine where I hear the hissing sound, I could see we only have 2 vacuum hoses. So that must mean one of these vacuum hoses or both of them has an issue. Let me put my hand down here and try to see if I can feel anything. And yeah, right away I touched the hose and the hissing sound got louder and I could hear it. Sorry, I could feel the air moving past my finger. So I think we found our issue. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this vacuum hose if I can so we can see if it's cracked or if it's broken. Now right away I've removed this vacuum hose. You can see the engine running a lot worse, and now you can hear that hissing sound in detail. Now look at our fuel trims and watch what happens when I cover this vacuum hose. You can see it instantly starting to drop, getting closer and closer to that 0 mark. Now no car is going to have a perfect 0, but anything between 0 and 10 is fine. Look at that. That simply we found our issue. Now what did I notice with this vacuum hose? The hose is actually fine. There's no cracks, there's nothing wrong with it. But there was no hose clamp around it where it goes into the vacuum block. So what I'm going to do is try to find a hose clamp that could fit this, and I'm going to put it on and see if that solves our issue. If you guys don't have a hose clamp, you could just use a zip tie. Zip ties are perfectly fine for vacuum hoses. Just make sure you don't put it on a hose that has liquid in it. Alright, so I went ahead and put a zip tie on both of those hoses. Now what we could do is go ahead and clear the codes and then take the car for a drive, and while we're driving it, we could look at the fuel trims to make sure everything's fixed. Now I went ahead and cleared the codes, and you could see we're no longer at 20%. We're closer to that 0 mark that we want to be. Now anything from 0 to 10 is fine, like I said. The older the car gets, the more out of order this number will be. But as you can see, our problem is solved. I've cleared the codes, and now the check engine light is still there, but that's from the other code you saw at the beginning of the video. That's going to be a different video. I still have to diagnose that. But right now, I just want to take the car for a drive and see if that same code that we had comes back. If it doesn't, then our problem is fixed. As you can see, I'm driving the car now, and our fuel trims look perfectly fine. So that's our problem fixed. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope y'all learned something, and I'll see y'all next time.